Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Friday, November 1st. We're going to take a look at Palantir today. So Palantir has been in an absolute tear. Down here in early of 2023 at $5 and some change, currently sitting at almost $42 with a high recently of $45.14. So what's going on? How extended is Palantir? What does the chart look like? So on and so forth. That's what we're here to take a look at. So we're going to start off with the EMAs, then we're going to take a look at the support and resistance levels, and then we're going to flip over to the think or swim study and give ourselves just sort of like a well-rounded look at things. So we see this build as it was rejecting, early to mid 2023 off of this 183 EMA. And then it got some juice over it. It pushed through, and that's when it really took off. And it just continued to sort of, build and then pull back a bit and then build and then pull back a bit, but all sort of maintaining strength over that 183 EMA. So that was really the key moment as we look back at things, especially as it's continued to show support at that level as we got into areas in here, which is early in 2024, and as well as when it dipped here on this day when it dropped a bit over 5% and then a bit over 2%, but found support ultimately right in that area of the 183 and then just continued a mega push. Now, present day, pulling back to the 21 EMA, this sort of like beige or orangish line in the middle, and as it dipped yesterday, it sort of came in toward that 34 EMA on the red line, but it didn't need to make a full tilt support off of that 34 EMA. It was able to stop just shy of it, so it's sort of in a questionable zone at the moment. It's continued to make higher highs on these swings, as you see, but this swing yesterday, if that turns out to be the swing, came in at a low of 40.90. We see this candle here had a low of 40.36. So, they're getting kind of close in there if it does get additionally dippy, but for now, still putting in slightly higher highs, slightly higher lows, but they're getting a little bit tighter. So the question is it going to sort of compress for a period of time? Is it going to pull back, and to what degree, or is it going to be able to push? But EMAs wise, everything is still in a bullish formation, but we are really far extended from this 183 EMA. That doesn't necessarily mean that it has to pull back to it, but we do see previously when it was extended quite far above it, it did pull back, it did tend to pull back toward it, and it's been quite a period now where it's been moving just off of these shorter term EMAs. So, is it sort of due just by virtue of timeline? Maybe. Does that mean that it has to approach it? Definitely not. Now, if we look at the levels, these are the support and resistance levels that I see. So we're spanning from just a flat, very psychological level here of $45 all the way down to $32.05. But the ones that are sort of most critical at the moment, as far as I see, and actually let's throw one more in here at the risk of cluttering the chart too much, but we can always clean it up later. 41.55 seems to be evolving, right, with quite a few candles playing off of that. But to the upside here, the immediate upside, this $42 level, proving to be a bit challenging at the moment. Like I said, you can see there 41.90 is where we're sitting. 42.59 is, I don't know if that was the exact high of the day. High of today is 42.57. So that approach to 42, what did I say here? 42.59, proving a little bit challenging as well. So sort of slipping through two near-in levels there, but so far at least finding support over this 41.55. The low of today so far 41.59. So it's really sort of the battle for 42 at the moment. And then what's it going to do with that? Again, it did a nice job compressing within that range relatively recently, though it wasn't that many candles, but it did put in some compression within that range and then was able to push up, make an attempt at that 45, but it got thrown off of that pretty handily, and then was down yesterday almost 5% off of the back of being down almost 3% the day before, as it was sort of rejected by that $45 marker. So we'll see, but these are the levels. If it does happen to lose that 42, 41.55 would be the next battle that I would see, and then 40.29. And then I don't actually see, other than just the psychological aspect of it, that $40 level showing a ton of play at the moment, but rather the mid 39s. So there could be a bit of a dip there from a bit above 40 into the mid 39s if it does fail to hold above that $40 level. Now, one thing I want to look at before we flip over to the Think or Swim is the analysis here. If we look at the PE ratio, it's 256. So that's astounding. And so this is more where I get a little bit cautionary, in my own world. And I know it's not particular to a chart, but this is the analysis that Webull shows. Overall rating strong, but price to earnings 256. I mean, it's tremendously high. And the analysts sort of reflecting that a bit here. Their average price target right now being a bit over $28, with a high of being 50 on the mark. But they are sort of spread in their rating and their suggestion of strong buy all the way down to sell, and these many options in between. So we'll see. But to me, the PE stands out for sure. We'll see if that comes in and plays a role, but I did just want to throw that in here. I know it's predominantly chart analysis that we focus on here, but that did stand out, so I did want to at least mention it. Now, on the Think or Swim side of things, sorry, I keep bumping the mic here. So I hope it's not causing a ton of audio difficulties, but in any case, we saw a full-fledged move through the last couple of ATR levels, the last several actually. This one fell a little bit short. These were the levels in July, but it was able to reach through the call trigger levels, this blue ATR here. It was able to reach through those in the month of August and in the month of September, and now in the month of October. So we're 3 consecutive months of hitting the call trigger and then fulfilling the full ATR level as it's displayed on the chart. So if that continues the trend through November, that would be a call trigger at 42.95, and that would be it pushing through at now, for now at least, to 47.44. These are dynamic and these do shift, so just keep that in mind. But it is coming in at sort of the base range right now, this gray line right here, which falls between the call trigger and the put trigger. So if it does dip below 40.57, that's when you may look. Oh, sorry, that's the next one. Put trigger right now 40.17 is the current November put trigger on the swing ATR setup. So we'll see if that comes into play or not, but it is, while it has pulled back, it's sort of situated mid-range of the channel, that bright blue line. We still see an obvious green bullish wave cloud in formation. Does it get a little bit, nose of a dolphin looking here, like a snout? Maybe that could spell some trouble, but it'll depend how it moves off of this baseline ATR level, and if it does anything as it approaches the put trigger or the call trigger. Now we do see a little bit waning on the histogram here, TTM squeeze indicator, but it has gone through a few of these waves, right? It's been sort of super herky-jerky versus back here where it was really sort of streamlined and symmetrical, and this has not been that, which is fine. So I'm not putting a ton of stock in that at the moment. There's also no triggering happening on the TTM squeeze indicator. We see it still hasn't triggered since way back here when it was at $26-ish, and we had this quick move down, and then it just set off this absolute rocket since then. And on the phase oscillator, we see here still churning through some bullish momentum. It is pulling back a bit toward compression. So situated a little bit over compression level, but I would be interested to see if it does start to hit compression as we saw back here, this neon pinkish color. And then if it's able to sort of regroup and move off of that in the near future. But it would be sort of a logical, I guess I could say, confluence of events where it is pulling back to the mid-range of the channel, and that mid-range of the channel is situated in close proximity to the baseline of the November ATR levels, as this phase oscillator is also getting near and nearer to a compression zone. So that could set us up for something that looks like a relatively compressive November period, or at least for some time in November. Obviously, there's geopolitical things happening in November that could make the market really topsy-turvy one way or the other. And so that could throw that, just in a macro sense, that could just sort of, throw this all askew. So I don't want to overemphasize, but there are, in any normal month, we would be looking mid-range of the channel, baseline of the ATR, while the oscillator, the phase oscillator is approaching compression. So in that instance, I would maybe look for it to be quite compressive throughout the bulk of the month, and then maybe look for it to start to trigger on the start to trigger on the TTM squeeze indicator ahead of a next big move, whether that be up or down. But who knows? So that's normally what I would say, given these confluence of factors. But like I said, in the macro sense, the geopolitical things that are going on this month could throw that wildly askew. So you just sort of need to be on your toes if you are looking to make any entries, exits, holds, what have you. All right, folks. So I hope you had a very nice trading week and that you enjoy your weekend. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.